Yes, sir. You know what it is. It's the Print Factory show here on a Monday. I almost forgot what day it is. I'm all confused right now. And we got Big T in the house, obviously, but we got Mr. Kevin Dollar Bill y'all in the house today. Kevin went 11-0 in his bets, courtesy of JBC, who just absolutely crushed the bet side yesterday at Run Pure Sports. If you're not a betting subscriber or you subscribe somewhere else, I mean, first of all, it's like free money. It's cheap, especially if you're a DFS subscriber. It's a very cheap add-on. I highly recommend it. And JBC went 5-0 in the premium and 11-0 in all of his NFL bets from yesterday, which made Kevin a very wealthy man who hit for $70K in parlay bets using those NFL bets. So I got to bring my man Kevin in first. How you feeling today, Kevin? I mean, obviously you feel a little heavier because your pockets are weighed down more, right? Like it's just a lot of money to hold.
Yeah, that's how it works. I went to the physical location, picked up my money, and I did a little Antonio Brown action and just spread it out everywhere and just laid next to it. JSU, before the secondary boss gets upset, can you please add the Run Pure logo into the bottom corner somewhere so we don't get in trouble? There we go. All right, we're good now. Mr. Peterson's now happy, so we're all happy now. No, it was a good day, and really JBC just completely crushed on those bets. Unfortunately, I went 10-0-1, as I said, because I did not get Carolina plus 3.5. I got them plus 3, so I pushed on that one and got all the other 10. And the way I do it, and it's not a way that everybody should necessarily do it. I just like throwing a little bit more of a GPP angle to it, of like I can win more money kind of thing. Is I bet all the single bets and then I bet the round robins and parlays at 1 unit of equality to all of the bets divided by the numbers. So if I bet 11 bets, I'm betting 11 units on the singles and then 1 unit on the round robins and parlays. And when it hits, it fucking hits. And JBC really hit. And I was able to hedge it 30K to get to that number. So it was 100,000 on the original bets from JBC, and ended up winning 70,000 or whatever it was, 65,000 on the bets. Can't complain when you're sitting down just watching football and taking picks from somebody else who is just rocking it, and you just have to push buttons instead of having to actually think about things, and you push buttons and just watch the games, and it all just keeps on going the right way.
So Fallick, I mean, you were just like any other member would do, right? They Correct. Go into the Discord, they look at all the bets for the day, and then they take their phone out, they click this bet and that bet, and then boom, they win money. That's
it's the same thing.
How you did it.
Friday was the same thing, to be honest. I was, as I said in the chat before in Discord, I was not going to be able to put up a core. I went to some stupid event that ended up being just awful, and I was sitting on the front steps of the Nashville courthouse at the mayor's reception, putting in my lineups, and finished it up at the Panera drive-thru when my kid said at 7:00 that he wanted some soup. Went and picked him up some soup and finished up the lineups, and won $15,000 on Friday night with the cores that you all put in. To be honest, I did not have time to look at much. The only thing I saw was that AP did not have Kyrie in his core, and I'm not saying Kyrie was not a great play that day, but sometimes you got to take a chance when you see all the opportunity later, and that's what I did. Is I faded Kyrie, and it ended up winning me $15,000. So. I was a member for 2 slates this weekend and won $80,000 or so off of it. And then obviously college football was absolutely incredible as well. Lots of great stuff this weekend.
Love it. Lots of winners here. We got Josh D in the chat. Of course, Fallick greater than Wiley. Wow.
Rivalry continues.
Shout out to Prez. I mean, nope. Prez is taking notes right now. He's listening, Josh D, just so you know. He's not listening, so he's there. And then Chris, damn, $70K ain't that much to lay. But Chris, see, what you got to do is you got to add you got to do some addition here because it's 70K on top of 15K, on top of 30K, on top of 100K, on top of like 370. I mean, the man's laying on a lot of DFS money right now. I'll just say that.
Yep.
I mean, Tony, right? It's not just.
We just call that the phallic life is what I call it. I mean, that's just where it's at. I mean, it's a daily thing. He gets his feelings hurt when we don't remember to text, but when the guy wins every day, sometimes you forget.
Tony, how was your day yesterday? How was your football day? How did the main slate go for you? Showdowns, how did everything go?
We're good. Not as good as phallic. We hit the stone cold lock bet, the 49ers, which was also good for fantasy. We talked a ton about it. The Chiefs haters, they like to call us on the Print Factory, got another dub. I loved ODB's tweet last night with the three guys in the tights dancing around. That was so good. But it's true. We've said the Chiefs suck all year. They kept getting lucky with some wins. And finally, they come back to reality with 2 stinkers in a row. They suck. It's that simple. Fantasy was good.
Tony, they got robbed though, Tony, because football's not played for 4 quarters.
He got robbed.
It's played for 1 drive at the end.
It's so poetic that somehow they got robbed. Yeah, I mean, that's
Mahomes one guy needs to just lay out Mahomes tight roping the sideline. Just one guy needs to do it.
I read some huge post on Twitter about it where they need like a gap where there's the sideline, the field, and then the middle range where they're still in bounds, but you can pop them when they're right in there.
How sick would it be if they hit the white and something lit up or something like that? Like how sick would that be?
Because these defenders are going full speed, and the minute he gets like a centimeter, he was on the field this time with the call, but if it's a centimeter over into the white, they're getting in trouble. Like, come on. These guys are going full speed.
There has to be some type of, like, even my wife was sitting there like, how do they know when to not hit him? I'm like, listen.
Tell her they don't know. That's why they get a penalty.
That's it. That's what I said. Yeah. She goes, it doesn't seem like it's his fault. He's just trying to tackle. I'm like, yeah, it doesn't work that way, unfortunately. But I get it.
I still got nightmares from the Bengals game. I mean, they might have gone different, but man, that call was tilted.
I can't grab this, but Mangone said JSU they used
last night though. What are we talking about, Sylvester? What did I miss from last night? We're talking about it right now. It was Mahomes.
What are you talking about?
What are we talking about it? Green Bay whooped Mahomes in the Chiefs. We're talking about it right now. This is what we were all talking about here. And that the one play that I will say sucked for the Chiefs was the MVS play. I thought if everyone watched football at the end of games where they do the heave into the end zone, they'll push in and shit like that. That happens all the time, and they never call it. But like the MVS play was at least bad, I guess, not the call. But the Chiefs always get calls, so I don't want to hear the one game they don't get a call at the end. I don't want to hear
and they got dominated the whole game anyways. Like,
that was my point. That was my whole point in the Discord. I said it. I was like, they got dominated for 3.5 quarters of that football game. They should have lost. The better team won. I don't know what else people want. They just want like. You're never going to get every call all the time anyways. Doing this every day.
They're used to getting every call. That's the problem.
I know. That's the problem. That is the problem here. So MVS wouldn't have caught the ball anyway, so it doesn't even matter. Like, he wouldn't have caught the ball.
The dude's dropped every ball for 10 years, and then he catches it on his back last night. He's just laying there and it falls. He can't catch the easy ones, but he's catching that.
Ridiculous catch he could have made, and he made that catch too. It was for like 15 yards, though. It was meaningless, Tony, right? It was just like a 15-yard. I think it was a third down, but still,
yeah, it was a huge play. It was definitely a third down.
It wasn't like a long bomb. Like, it wasn't like the touchdown. Like, we're used to seeing them just like drop touchdown bombs and stuff or in the end zone. MVS, it kills me all the time. But yeah, Green Bay won. It was a good day for Packers fans. Go Pack, go. I'll start that chant any day of the week. I came on. I touted the Packers. I touted the Packers receivers in Showdown. If you watched the show last night, you know I was on Jaden Reed, Christian Watson captains. Obviously, Jaden Reed didn't get there. Christian Watson did, though. I bet him for 2 touchdowns too, Tony. But I needed Taylor Swift to come down onto the field and push Travis Kelce into the end zone twice so I could have won phallic type money, but she didn't. And I was told she was going to. Rubio Dimes lied to me. That's what I'm going to say. End of story. Rubio
Not everyone
Dimes
can win
told me.
phallic type money anyway. So you gotta work hard for phallic type money.
Well, Rubio Dimes told me Taylor Swift was there and she was going to push.
Rubio
Travis Kelce
Dimes also said he could outrun Tyreek Hill.
Oh, that's not happening either. So
Oh, man.
what are you going to do there? All right. On this show here, guys, we are going to talk all sports. We're going to talk, and we got to talk NBA because it is the in-season tournament, and there's 2 games tonight. Shouldn't take that long, but we are going to talk some NBA, and then we will talk some football. I know DePrez is going to come on when we get the football talk going, so we'll do the NBA first. We apologize if some of you guys just came here for football. Hang in with us. We are going to get to the football talk, but we are going to start with NBA. So if you're not in the NBA, you want to go get a beverage or whatever, come back. That's fine. We will talk the football as well. But guys, in-season tournament tonight, we got 2 games. Pretty good games too, honestly. We got Boston, Indiana, and you got New Orleans and Sacramento. I'm kind of excited to watch it, honestly, these games. And the tournament's been more exciting than I thought. So, I mean, Tony, what about you? How's it felt for you, the in-season tournament? Have you thought it was better than you thought it was, or do you think it's just whatever?
Yeah, I mean, it's better than the regular season, so it's a little gap, and I think it's fun. I think the players like it. Yeah, I mean, is it the normal playoffs? Is it like that? No, but we'd also be just watching normal regular season games, which I've said this a bunch on these shows. I love NBA as much as anyone, but this time of year, I mean, it's not NBA mode for me until we get past Christmas. Once Christmas gets here, you got the Christmas 5 games. I like that. I just am not into full NBA mode yet. So the playoffs, and especially now that we're down to the 8, I think they're going to really take it serious now just because they want to – I mean, they want to be the first champ and not the money or anything. Some of the guys, money's probably big, $100K or whatever the number is. But I think it'll get a little more serious, and these rotations are going to get tighter too. So that's good for fantasy.
Yeah. I remember doing a show. It was an Up to Lock show that we do over at Run Pure Sports with Rubio, and Rubio's really into the in-season tournament. And he was even highlighting in the group stage that there were certain teams, and they were giving even the small upticks in minutes to their main guys, but there were still upticks in minutes. And he brought up guys like Joel Embiid. There were teams that were taking this seriously enough to where they were giving their starters and main guys more run in that period than in the normal regular season games. And yes, we are talking only a couple minute difference, but as we know in the playoffs, that means a lot. You know what I mean? If you tell me a guy's going from 35 to 38 minutes, that's a big deal. If you tell me Joel Embiid's going to play instead of 36, he's going to play 41. Well, that's a 5 difference means a lot. So, I think that's a huge thing if you think that these coaches are going to really push their guys in these games going forward. And Tony, I think they will, honestly. We saw Boston play for the point differential against Chicago, where it killed a lot of those players on that team, like Jason Tatum, who came out against it, saying he hated it. He did not want to do it. He didn't like it. But the coach was telling him, foul Drummond. There was like 5 or 7 minutes left, and they're hacking Drummond because – and Billy Donovan even came over, and Mazzulla just told him, like, hey, man, we're just trying to get the point differential. It's for the – and you could see he was just like, all right, whatever. But no, I don't think anyone really liked it, Tony, but they were going for the win. Like, the win meant something to them.
Yep. And I honestly don't know. I think all that stuff's a little overblown, honestly. Just being around sports my whole life, I think it's gone too far with the end of these games. You got to dribble it out. You got to put all this – like, just play. Like, you're not making fun of something. I mean, that kind of is extreme where you're fouling a guy up 30. But, I mean, it's a point differential. I'm always under the assumption, just play. Like, okay, if you don't want him to get fouled, put another guy in, like, on the other team. I've always been that way with baseball, everything. If a guy hits a home run and dances on you, don't let him hit a freaking home run. he strikes you out and dances on you, hit the ball next time. Basketball, that's how I've always been. And I've been on both sides. Like basketball, I was always on way better teams and we crushed people. Football, I played quarterback. We sucked. And we got our ass kicked. And I was fine getting my ass. If you kick my ass, then I'd shake your hand and be like, you whooped us. You were better. I never once was that person like, you guys are embarrassing us. Well, if you're embarrassed, I'll quit. I won't play if I'm embarrassed. So I'm always on the other side. Maybe it's a little egregious fouling, but like if you're just playing, just play. Stop us. It's professional basketball.
Yeah, Devin Booker was like, I would just rather compete till the end.
Yeah.
Like if I'm in the game, I'm just going to compete. Like I would want my opponents to compete too. Yeah. Like I don't care what the score is. I'm just going to compete. The coach takes me out, whatever. But when I'm in there, I want to compete. And that's how everyone should feel. It's competition. That's what sports are. Competition. Yeah. People want that competition. They love that competition too. So, yeah, I think it's been good, though, the in-season tournament. Falik, what's your thoughts on the in-season tournament so far?
Yeah, I think it's been great, honestly. I think that the big thing is we can say as much that people don't care about the money, but when you're talking about, like, players, 12 through 17 on the bench, this is a big deal for some of them. Like, these are guys are on undrafted free agent rookie contracts, going between two-way and stuff like that, and you don't get paid as much on the two-way, and you have a chance to make these guys $100,000, whatever amount of money it is. And I think that they are taking pride in it, which is nice. Like, I think that is the thing that to really realize is that these guys are taking it. They're making a big deal. Is Beanair saying it's $850. So each player wins 500, extra 200 for making the final, 100K for semi, and 50 for quarterfinal. So, yeah.
I mean, to your point, though, Falik, it's a big deal for a lot of the guys because not all those guys on the team are making massive amounts of money. You know, so I think it's even a big deal for the stars that are making money, kind of saying like, "Hey, listen, we can help these guys. You know, I want to help these guys. You know what I mean? Like, you know, Tatum it doesn't help Tatum, doesn't help Brown. That's fine, but they can help Sam Hauser and." Who, you know, all these guys at Luke Cornett or whoever else is at the end of that bench that, you know, doesn't make a ton of money that they could add another, whatever the amount is, 500K, 50K, whatever it is, to their pockets. I think it's pretty cool. And I agree. It's something for them to at least play for and fight for their teammates, if not for themselves. So I forget one of the players though was like, "Hey man, that'll pay off my Rolls Royce. Of course I'm going to play hard for it." So yeah, it's for some guys it'll pay off their Rolls Royce, that 500.
I know you're saying those names, but like even a guy like this kid Jordan Walsh, alopecia guy for Boston.
Yeah, I know he is.
Huh?
I know he is. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, he's 19 years old. And he's on the Boston roster, and he's probably on a two-way deal, and he's gonna make the money too. It's nice.
Yeah, he was one of their draft picks. Yeah, that's definitely something to play for. So, all right, let's talk about these games here. We'll obviously start with the early one, and we'll move, to the late one. It's only 2-game slate, so I definitely think on 2-game slates you can absolutely leave money on the table. That is one way to be a little different. In NBA, normally I don't like leaving that much money on the table. I don't normally do it. But in 2-game slates, obviously in Showdown too, I think those are the slates where you can absolutely do it here. And so we get the questions all the time, so I just want to hit it now. But, Boston, Indiana. Indiana's one of those teams that we've attacked because they just play at a fast pace, back and forth, not as good defense. So you're going to get a lot of scoring. And then you've got one of the best teams in the league in Boston, who's without Kristaps Porzingis, but man, they still got a lot of guys. This is definitely going to be the more popular game, in my opinion, on this slate. So how do we attack a 2-game slate where we know that this is the game that's probably going to get more ownership? Tony, I'll throw it to you first.
Yeah, I mean, 2-game slates are always the same strategy for me, where I like to target one of the 2 games and really go heavy, because if you get it right on the 2-gamers, and it's why I think I've always been better on short slates than like full slates, because if you guess it right, you're just so in such a dominant position. Like, just say, for example, you think Boston could blow Indiana out. You know it's going to be a more popular game because Indiana gives up so many points, plays at such a big pace that you know it's going to get more ownership. So just say you think Boston, they were the best team last year, most of the year. They just want to win this tournament. They're going to win by 30 tonight or something. Just say you thought that. You can get a pretty enormous edge by going heavier on that second game. And again, we're going to get into these games and talk more about it. I'm not saying that's what I'm doing, but you can just get such a huge edge by doing that. Whereas most people still just run it the exact same way they always do, like a full slate. They just go in, play the best plays, put them in there, not really like everything. No one's creative. They're just going in and playing the numbers and just putting it in and not really thinking about anything. I just think you can get way more creative. Another thing, like we've talked on the football shows, punts come in more. Like, you can just punt a spot. And again, like tonight might not be an example of a great spot for it, but just say you wanted to play, any of these this Banton dude from Boston, you think it might blow out 3,300. He's obviously not going to play all that much unless it's a blowout, but it doesn't hurt you as much on a 2-game slate to punt a guy, even if he gets 0, if it gets you up to another guy that plays a ton of minutes. Because tonight, these top guys are just such dominant plays. Tatum, Fox, Sabonis, all these studs are just going to play big-time minutes because of the tournament. So I want as many – I always want studs, but on these slates even more so, I want these guys that have the huge ceilings because the minutes are going to be there and they want to win. I think just as far as these teams tonight too, these teams want to win. Like, Sacramento's a young team on the rise. Pelicans are kind of putting it all together with their studs too. You know, they want to win. Hold on. I was pulling up these prices on Indiana. Indiana's young. Indiana's the one team that I just don't know really what to expect from them. They're at home. They've played good. And Boston is obviously the veteran team. And these are the teams, like tomorrow, the Lakers, I know they want to win. Boston, some of the teams are just easy for me as far as what they want. Like, I'd struggle to see Boston losing tonight. I say that. The spread's only 5.5. The other game, the spread's 3.5. And tomorrow's games are somewhat close. So just because you think, I don't know. I wouldn't be too shocked to see any of these teams win.
Yeah, I wouldn't be stunned if – listen, I think Boston's fully healthy. I think Boston's the best team in the NBA. No doubt in my mind. Do I think that the Pacers at home, though, can play an exciting, fun, fast-paced game and beat Boston at their game? Yeah, possibly. I definitely think that's in the realm of possibility. These guys are young. They're hungry. Tyrese Halliburton, you can make the case he's been one of the best players in the entire league this season to date. Outside of like Jokic and maybe Giannis, literally, I'd put him up there as like one of the top players just from what their production is all year. I'd put him right up there in the top 5 just from a production standpoint. So could he keep this team afloat and keep them in it? 100%. So he's the highest projected from what I'm seeing from projections right now, at least on Sabre. Which
he's going to be unowned, though, is the thing.
Yeah, that's the funny part. Is the highest projected. But
Halliburton, Fox, and Sabonis are all going to be extremely low owned for a 2-game slate, which gives you just crazy opportunity.
Yeah, and honestly, so for me, De'Aaron Fox, because of the price discount, is the most interesting. But Halliburton is right up there. Like, if I'm paying up, I might just play one of those 2 guys on all my teams because that's how Indiana is going to stay in this game is Halliburton. So if you're stacking up Boston, I think you want Halliburton, honestly. So I might go more Boston mid-tier with Halliburton. But Falik, what do you think here on this Indiana-Boston game?
So the first thing is the question of the only injury news that we're waiting for is Indiana-based as well. If you can assume that those 2 guys are playing, Halliburton and Toppin are both playing, I think it makes
they're going to play.
I think they're going to play too, but I'm not going to guess right now. And thankfully, we'll get the news. But I think it makes a clearer picture for us. So you got Boston, who plays a very tight rotation, but the ball gets spread around. I think you're going to see an incredibly tight rotation for Boston tonight. And then on the Indiana side, I think that you're going to see pieces that are going to be tighter than usual. I don't think people realize, but Obi Toppin played 35 minutes last game. Isaiah Jackson got benched for the entire second half, and Obi Toppin got the power forward position and the center position when Miles Turner was out. He was playing center. Aaron Nesmith was playing power forward. So if you can project the fact that they're going to not play some of these guys the minutes that they played last game, then I think that you're looking at your five guys on the court the most for Indiana is going to be Miles Turner, obviously Halliburton, and then Bruce Brown, and then you're going to have a mix of those other guys. And I think Obi Toppin's going to be one of the guys that you're going to see on the court quite a bit. And I think that people don't realize that he got all that run last game. I'm seeing him at insanely low ownership. I'm seeing 25 minutes or so projected for him, and 25 to 28 minutes, and I think he could play 36 minutes tonight, depending on how they decide to play, because they don't need to play a guy like Isaiah Jackson a ton tonight, with Al Horford, who's more of a power forward at this time in his life. They can definitely play, but they also need the size against Jason Tatum and other pieces on that team as well. I like Halliburton as well. I think that he's a very interesting play. The big thing is I just think that Boston's going to play 7 guys tonight for any more than 10 minutes. The problem is that their bench is just really weak. So you're looking at chalky plays with Al Horford and Derek White, and all those guys are the chalky plays, and I think that they're the safe plays as well. So that's how I feel about that. But on the Indiana side, I just think Obi Toppin's a fantastic play tonight. I'm going to probably be very heavy on him. But honestly, I like the second game more than the first game personally. I think it's going to, for some reason, people don't realize that game is going to be a tight rotation as well, in my opinion. So I think the second game is overall going to be the game that I'm going to be focusing on more.
Interesting. Yeah. So I did see what you saw with the Isaiah Jackson stuff. And if people don't know, Jalen Smith's out too. And they don't need to play him that much, Falik. So I agree with you that it is interesting if they go with more of a tighter rotation and they play more minutes to guys like Obi Toppin or Aaron Nesmith, who I feel like he's another guy that in this type of matchup where you got so many ball dominant guards on the wings and stuff like that from Boston, a guy like Aaron Nesmith, just for his defense, they might want out there a little bit more. You have to think Bruce Brown's going to play a ton. I think he's another guy who's going to play a lot of minutes tonight. The one spot I don't know for Indiana is Benedict Mathurin, Buddy Hield. It feels like they're the one spot though where they could each play 30 minutes as opposed to one play 40 and one play 22 or something. You know what I mean, Felix? I feel like that's the spot that I struggle with, but I can get on board with like a Bruce Brown or Aaron Nesmith or an Obi Toppin at those price tags. I don't think you need to go crazy though with Indiana as much. So, but I do like getting like one or two of those guys to pair with Hallie, who I think is just, if you're playing heavy Boston, I think you want Hallie. I think you need Hallie, honestly. And I get that it's a tougher matchup, but they go with Hallie. So if Hallie's not playing well, I don't think this game's going to go well. It's going to be more Tony's route where it's a blowout, or what he was talking about where Boston blows them out, if that's the case. So, yeah, that's how I see it. Tony, anything else we're missing here from this game?
Yeah, I mean, you just got to decide how you think Indiana plays. It's for sure the better game of the night on paper, but I still think some of the plays are a little shaky. It's one of those things, too. The projections aren't going to be able to account for the tighter rotations, which is why we've always done better in the playoffs. But you still don't know. I mean, in the playoffs, I know for a fact when it's game 6 and the season's on the line, I know for a fact they're just going to play 40-plus minutes. Yeah, I still don't know for like it's that condensed tonight, but I do agree with you guys that it's going to be more condensed. I still have a hard time with a lot of these Indiana pieces, but you can really get a nice boost by playing some of them. I mean, some of the percentages on these guys look crazy to me. I don't know. Like they feel,
who? Like who?
I mean, some of these Indiana guys, like Nimhard being like 50%, Maturin 39. I mean, some of these percentages just feel pretty high to me.
What's Aaron Neesmith at, Tony? What's he at?
I got him in the 30s.
Okay. That's not. I think honestly, I think this matchup makes the most sense for him to be out there. He's a former Celtic. He's a defensive guy. He can obviously get in foul trouble, but that's why he's out there. And he's 4,300. And I think he could play 25 to 30 minutes if he's not in foul trouble in this type of game, especially if what Fallick said happens again, where they bench Isaiah or they don't play a backup big. Well, what do you think they're going to do when Turner's out? They're going to go small. How do they go small? They move one of those 4s up to 5 and they play Neesmith and Bruce Brown. And
yeah, I don't think Jackson plays much for sure. I don't. Yeah, I agree with Fallick there. I think they get way more condensed there. So I think they play 2, 4, 6. Like, yeah, I mean, a solid 8 with a couple loose guys after that.
Yeah, I think they play 8 guys solid minutes, and then there's a 9th guy who fills in a few minutes here and there, whoever that is. But
I mean, the Boston part of what you guys are saying, though, like you look at their bench, I agree that they're like one of the best teams, but man, are they thin now. Like they are crazy thin, where that's perfect for tonight, though, because like you guys are saying, there's no way these guys aren't playing huge minutes. They're not playing some of these guys in a game that matters to them. If it stays close, if it gets a little breathing room and they're up 20, then that's different. But if this game stays close, man, they're going to play so many minutes.
100%.
There is a lot of opportunity game theory wise, though. I know I said it to begin with, but if this game gets out of hand, there is so much ownership in a 2-game slate. And the next game's a good game, too. Like, there is a lot of opportunity to game theory it up here.
Yeah, let's go to the next game, because the next game is a good game. And you got a team like Sacramento who's on the rise. We saw them last year. And the Pelicans, those Pelicans are starting to get healthy, man. And they've got some young dudes to pair with these vets.
Their roster is good, man. Their roster's better than almost any team top to bottom.
I don't know if you guys watched any of that game against San Antonio on, what was it, Saturday or Friday? I can't remember, one of the 2 days. But Trey Murphy played in that game. I think it was Friday. Trey Murphy played in that game. It was the first game back. And, man, he looked good. He looked good. He played 20. What'd you say, Falk?
He chucked the ball.
He chucked, but he looked good. And he gave them a different element to that offense that they don't have. Like, that's something they don't have. That type of just shooting. And, yeah, he took 10 threes. I know what Falk's saying. But, like, his presence out there, he got the crowd going. Like, it was just everything combined. This dude is real. Like, Trey Murphy is legit, and he gives them another threat that they don't have. And whether it comes off the bench or he starts, I think he's a huge, addition to this team. He's 5,100. I think he plays more minutes tonight than 22 as well, which is another thing to throw out there. But they're pretty healthy, Tony, outside of no Larry Nance, no Matt Ryan. The rest of these guys are in, it looks like. They got Alvarado at 3,800, and then all the studs. What are we doing here with the Pels?
It's hard, man. The reason all the ownership's going in that first game is it is hard. Like Herb, so all the guys for the Pacers you guys talked about that you liked are like in the 4Ks. A lot of these guys are in the 5Ks, so it's like you're paying 1K extra for the same player almost. All those Pacers guys, granted, I'm not saying the Pacers guys are better than Herb Jones and Trey Murphy, but their price is better and their role is just as good as far as fantasy stuff, because you still have 4 main guys. I mean, Ingram, McCollum, Val, Zion. I mean, those guys are going to be where the majority of things happen. And it's really hard to click outside of game theory. Like, just if you told me ownership doesn't matter, you just got to build the best team tonight, cash style, put it in there, nothing else. I mean, I'm stacking that first game 1,000,000% because of everything that comes with it. But just I mean, New Orleans, I just genuinely don't see how you could click a single name. If I'm playing one team, I don't see a single guy that's a better play than that first game. As far as Sacramento, I think Fox and Sabonis are incredible plays because where I just talked about New Orleans having 4 kind of key, and I agree with you guys too about Trey Murphy. He's a stud. He's a freaking beast. He can shoot. He's athletic. All of that. So you got all of that. 4 guys, 2 good role players. Whereas you come to Sacramento, I mean, you got 2 guys and then a bunch of role guys. So it's just way more condensed. Honestly, if I could have a team with just Fox or Sabonis in the late game and just jam that first game is what I think is optimal for sure, how I want to build. But again, game theory, you can just pretend the first game doesn't go great, blows out, anything happens, foul trouble, happens all the time on 2-game slates, and then you just get creative. But, man, like Kevin Huerter at 5,900 or Aaron Nesmith at 4,300. I'm taking Aaron Nesmith for 4,300 like you guys just said. Obi Toppin, 5,200. I mean, these guys are just better plays in that first game. So, I mean, outside of the studs, Sabonis and Fox, I'm trying to keep it simple for people, and I want them to understand what I'm saying. I don't think there's any better plays in the second game than the first game, but it is applicable on these 2 gamers just to say, screw that. I know the first game's better, but when stuff happens, the path to shipping a lot of money is very, very clean if you don't do that, because everyone's going to do that. So I hope that made sense, but if not, I did my best.
Yeah, no, I think that makes sense. McCollum was out that game. McCollum was in that Trey Murphy played. So,
and they beat Sacramento twice already too. It does not that means a ton, but it means at least a little to me. And I think New Orleans is just a better team. So, I mean, you can get 3.5 with New Orleans tonight. I think that's a pretty good bet. On a side note,
New Orleans minus 3.5. You said?
No, they're dog.
They're dogs.
Oh, they're the dog. Yeah,
yeah.
I like that. I like that. Yeah.
I just think they're a better team than Sacramento, just all things considered.
Yeah, like fully healthy. I agree. I think these teams are very close, honestly.
I mean, they're built similarly. They're pretty deep, somewhat deep, I should say. New Orleans might be the deepest team in the NBA.
I think New Orleans is deeper than a lot of teams. Yeah, I mean, they've got like that Hawkins kid has been really good this year. He's not even going to get that much run now with all these guys coming back. They got Dyson Daniels off the bench. Jose Alvarado's barely played this year. He's going to be back for this game. I mean, he's played a little bit this year, but not a ton. And then they got Najee Marshall, who I think is a perfect filler guy to come in and play 15. This is a good team. They got a lot of deep role players that fit. So, Falik, what do you like here in this game?
So the question I have for JSU specifically is, how do they condense this rotation down for New Orleans? Does Cody Zeller not get run tonight? Like, he's been getting 8 to 10 minutes. Is he going to not get run and they play Zion at the 5? Is that like a possibility? Like, does Jordan Dawkins lose minutes?
I think there's a possibility where Dyson Daniels and or Jordan Hawkins see very little run, and they go Najee, Trey Murphy, Jose Alvarado, and one of those guys. And then Cody Zeller gets very few minutes or no minutes. And like you said, they go big. I think that's a very big possibility, depending on how much they want this game. You know what I mean? Because I don't know. To me, like, Hawkins and or Daniels have to take a hit. I just don't see how they don't take a hit.
And then Zeller takes a hit.
Then Zeller has to take a hit. Yeah. So I think that's where the minutes come from.
And I think
Alvarado's not going to really play either. I don't think any of those guys are going to play.
Yeah. So if that's the case, then I mean, I don't know how you don't play
literally Murphy. 7 guys down to Najee outside of literally just filler minutes, like a couple minutes.
So that's what I'm saying.
Then you should Trey.
If that's the case, then I think that you should, number one, 100% like CJ McCollum, played 38 minutes the last game, played 28 the first game to get him slowly moving up. He ramped straight up to 38 the second game. I'm going to take 38 minutes of CJ McCollum any day. I'm definitely interested in Zion tonight. I think he could just completely power up Harrison Barnes. And if he's going to play the center minutes, I think he's valuable there as well on the boards. And then Trey Murphy for me. I think Trey Murphy's a very good play. He played, so in the game that he was chucking the ball, he played, I'm headed up here. So he played 22 minutes, but he didn't play for the last 5 minutes of the game. Because I don't want to call it a blowout because they still had Brandon Ingram in the game and CJ McCollum in the game. But I think those are the three guys that I'd be honing in on for sure. And then on the Sacramento side, tell me if I'm wrong, but I see this being a seven guy rotation as well on this side with Malik Monk and Trey Lyles coming off the bench, possibly this Vizenkov guy coming in for 10 to 12 minutes, but like JaVale McGee may play a few minutes here or there, but I wouldn't plan on much. Davion Mitchell may play a few minutes here or there, and Keon Ellis may play a few minutes here or there. And that puts me interested in basically every single player on Sacramento. Probably the one.
I will just say too, do we think Herb Jones is on Fox the whole game?
I mean, I don't see why he wouldn't be. Who else is he going to be?
Because I'm pretty sure he's played him in this matchup before, and he struggled. I mean, I know we don't do individual matchups that much, but Herb Jones is like.
I mean, he's the best defender, I think, in basketball.
He's so good.
Beast.
He's so good. I'm with you. I love the Pelicans. I'm going to bet the Pelicans. I might bet them.
Their team is just better. Look at their team.
Yeah, I like them. Go on, Fallick, if you had anything else.
No, the only other piece I'd say is if Keegan Murray gets back up to ramping up to 30 to 35 minutes, I think he's definitely in play as well. That's again, it's all predicting rotations and taking your chances on it. And I think that if you can predict Sacramento playing 7 guys and New Orleans playing like 8 guys, I think that this is going to be a really interesting game. And I think that it's going to be very low owned compared to the other one. And I think you can avoid Malik Monk even if you want to. I don't think you need to play him. And he's the guy that everybody's playing right now at 5.7K. I will say on FanDuel, it's a different story to an extent. You have Herter and Malik Monk, who are both pretty cheap. And so I would definitely have interest in them. And then De'Aaron Fox is the biggest price difference on FanDuel. 10.5 on FanDuel, 9.6 on DraftKings. I think Zion's probably a little too expensive as well. And so I think that that's a little different on FanDuel for sure.
Yeah, I think for Sacramento, the key is going to be getting that mid-tier right. One of those mid-tier guys is going to probably have a good game. Kevin Herter, Keegan Murray, Malik Monk. I'll even throw Harrison Barnes in there, even though I don't think it'll be him. One of those guys I think has a good game. The question is, who's it going to be paired with a Fox or a Sabonis or something like that? So that's the question for me. I'll probably try and fit one guy in, but that's just because I think those price tags are too good, and I think they will try and win this game and push the minutes of some of these guys just a little bit more. You know what I mean? I'm not saying they all get like 40, but maybe Malik Monk, instead of getting 26 to 28, gets 30 or 31. You know what I mean? Maybe Kevin Herter gets 31 or 33 instead of like 29. So 30. So that makes a difference here. All right. Do you guys want to give like a favorite play or something like that before we move to football? How do you want to do this?
The more you guys talk about the second game, I just keep adding more teams to just jam the first game because the second game looks so much worse to me. The more Fallick was liking these guys, the more I'm like, man, this first game's gonna smash.
So the more Fallick talks about
whatever he starts talking up these weird dudes like Fallick does, the more I'm like, oh my god, Keegan.
All right, that's it. Trey Murphy's my only play from the late game.
These plays are, oh man, Herder at 5,900, Keegan.
I have no interest in Herder. I didn't say Herder.
Keegan at 6,300. Oh, whew. I just kept adding. I'm dead serious. I just kept adding more teams to my one. I'm like, I was gonna play 20 because it's 2 games, and then it went to 40, and then I just kept going up. I'm like, oh man, I like this a little better.
Just keep doing it, Tony. Just keep going up. Keep adding.
And then Falc's gonna ship on my head with like not Malik Monk because he's the owned one. Like,
I mean, flipping the build though. You know, Falc always does it. He's gonna flip the build on
he's gonna skip again because it's the month of Falc.
Yeah,
December to remember.
Why is Malik Monk projected that kind of ownership?
It's crazy. I don't know.
Can't be right. It's got to be wrong.
It's just got to be like the mid-tier, Tony. Just like jamming the mid-tier guys.
Malik Monk? Oh, I just looked at it
right now. There's so much length on this Pelicans team. Like this is not easy for like those perimeter guys.
I should just fade that should be my day. That's another thing you can do in all seriousness is just fade one team in a 2-game slate. Play the rest of it 1,000,000% normal and just hope the one team is the one that just doesn't play good tonight.
So, Tony, that's like 100% my strat. I always try and find one team to fade on these 2-game slates.
Would be my team,
like you said with the first game. Like if you want to get different, just pretend it doesn't exist and stack up the second game. Pretty much, it's the same idea, but just do one team instead of one game. You know what I mean? So like pretend that
Sacramento's so clearly that team. Outside of Fox and Sabonis, and then you take it one step further. Fox has a tough matchup, and Sabonis doesn't have an easy matchup against those guys in that length. So
Falc is the Green Bay Packers of NBA DFS.
Just always wins. That's a compliment.
Love it. The dog. Falc's the dog. All right. We want to give a play of the day before we move to football? What do you want to do here? CJ McCollum. Okay, there you go. Falc's already barking. Tony?
Man, CJ McCollum. Falc's my favorite. Man. CJ McCollum. My favorite play. Let me find one that's low owned here. I don't want to get
JSU, who's your favorite play? Let's make fun of somebody for having a favorite play and you can't even make a fucking decision.
I will.
I really don't have one either.
I'll give Trey Murphy as my play of the day. I do think he's going to get more run his second game back, and he's going to – what he showed me in game – he's going to chuck. Doesn't matter who's out there. Doesn't matter if he's playing with CJ or Ingram or whatever. When he's out there, he's open. He's shooting the ball. So give me some Trey Murphy at 5,100. And no, Tony, are we sponsored by Jordan? I don't think so, but these sweatshirts.
Yeah, we are. What do you mean?
These sweatshirts are nice. I'll tell you right now, they're nice and comfy. If you didn't listen, I don't know if anyone listened to the MMA show, but Mad Lab was appreciating all the gear he got, and he was telling everyone it's the comfiest sweatshirt he's gotten. Like he loves it. It's so.
Did comfy. He have it on?
He had it on.
Yeah.
And the funniest part is, Tony, he goes, the best part is, I hate the color red. I look like an idiot in the color red, and all my gear was red. And he was wearing it on the show, even though he hates the color red.
Well, if you're jacked like that, you look good in any color, Mad Lab.
Thank you. Then it makes it look like a rain. So I can't even remember what he said. It was silly though.
Tony, I got to hit up Amber before I head out in a week. I need some new,
she needs to send it to you for sure. She will.
Yeah.
I'm still waiting for Tony to send me more gear.
I want to give a low-owned play. I mean, it's got to be Halliburton for me. I don't think anyone's going to play him at 10-9. He's like JSU started the show by saying he's the highest projected and, to me, the lowest owned of the studs. So you're telling me on a 2-game slate I can play the highest projected and lowest owned of the studs? That, to me, seems like a very interesting proposition. And if Boston just pounds them or something, I'll lose tonight anyways because, like I said, I just think the first game's way better. And you guys sold me even more with one thing I think I do good is just listen to you guys talk, and you guys sold me even more without even realizing it that the first game is way better. So I'm just going in there on it probably.
All right, I'm ready to move to football.
I'm ready to move to football too. I will just say, I think from the first game, the only two guys I might play are Herb Jones and Trey Murphy at those price tags. I think might be the only two guys that I even get to and just jam that first game from the second game.
I still struggle mentally with Herb because he's just gotten better this year, and I'm still used to the guy that just can't do anything on offense. And he's just better. And it's like a mental block for me. I can't get over it. And I need to just realize that he's not the same player. He's just good. But
I got good vibes with Herb because I played him on 2 slates and he's gotten me like 38 and 45 fantasy points. So I got good vibes with
it should be a good
Herb
matchup
Jones.
for him too, just because of the way the game sets up.
They just announced Obi and Halliburton are in.
Yeah, so they're both going to play. So, like we said, we figured they were going to play. But
Fallick needs that confirmation. You remember back when he used to do it with the rain delay? Like, I'd be like, they are not playing. And he'd be like, nope, they haven't announced it yet. We got to wait until the stadium says it.
He's on the hotline, Tony. He's on the hotline trying to call. What's going on? Is the roof closed? Is it open? Are they playing?
Real quick, thoughts on Joe Val, he says. Joe Val, for me, is just a solid play. I mean, he's not going to be owned. I don't love the matchup. It's not my favorite, but he's 6,800. I mean, I'm playing him before I'm playing Keegan or something like that. So, honestly, what I'm going to do, and I'm probably going to bet pretty heavy on New Orleans, and I'm just going to stack the first game, and I'm going to play Showdown because we got 150K Showdown tonight for the late game. So just say the first game goes bad and I'm in trouble with the 2-gamer. I'll just play Showdown and bet the Pelicans and kind of not a hedge, but slight hedge there.
I like it. What do you got, Fallick? What's so funny?
I'm picturing Tony being frustrated the first game didn't go his way. Then the second game, the Sacramento wins, and I'm like, we got like KBO baseball betting happening later tonight.
Yeah, you always just find something else in the middle of the night.
Got to. Fallick, free bet for the people?
No.
Yeah, you're 11-0 yesterday on your bet.
I was not 11-0.
Fallick, I teed that up for you, and you were supposed to say, I don't have a free bet, but if you want a bunch of bets, you can use code Giblets44. Get over to Run Pure Sports, get 44% off your first month or weekly payment, and go get JBC's bets for the day. His premium bets, and his bets are up for tonight.
I have posted Giblets44 on Twitter.
Oh my God, where's the Prez? Immediately, Prez, tap in. It's time for the tap in.
Let's go. Come on,
we were rolling too there, and you just the soft G just made me soft.
He just made me soft.
All
right, we're gonna get to football here now.
Yeah,
so
Brandon.
For everyone
Brandon
waiting,
heard it right away. I mean, Prez.
Appreciate
Where's
it.
the Prez?
Prez is coming. Don't
we
worry.
Need the
you don't think
tap in?
Tony,
I can't believe it. Even
it's
Bruce says, Kevin. Look at Bruce. Kevin. I
think he's happy to see me.
He's gonna come in late because that's what he always does. So he's like, "Oh, they want me now. I'll make them wait another minute."
He's an hour and 7 minutes late, if anything.
Well, no, he doesn't like talking NBA. He's talking hockey somewhere in a chat, I'm sure. Is there hockey
that's
tonight?
Just all over. I mean, the soft G. I am so soft. I'm in an innie right now.
Well, that's such a shame.
Yeah, Bruce wants to. I do it. Boner killer. Exactly. Oh. I need Bruce's camera angle though, so I can have it to the side of my beautiful face. I wish I had that camera angle too. And he's got a standing desk too. Like, he's my hero.
All right. Donnie's in the live show chat. He says Kings are going to run them out the gym. The Fox show tonight. I'll be at the game. Go Kings.
I'm surprised he thinks that if he's a Kings fan and going to the game. I'm stunned.
Hey, he's loyal to his team. I respect
I wouldn't be surprised. These 4 games, like I started, there's 4 close spreads, all pretty good teams. Nothing would totally shock me from this stuff.
Yeah,
all right,
100%.
Let's talk football.
Fallick's trying to rush us here, Tony, so we can.
No, I think we're
get to
just
the
sitting
football,
here. We are sitting here waiting for a guy who is always late. It's like sitting at a bar and saying, "I'm going to wait to get a drink
Who
until
said
this
we were
person
waiting?
gets
We were
here."
having conversation.
Yeah, it was
Early.
a conversation.
We were soft from you saying giblets, and we're trying to recoup here.
Don't even say it the wrong way. All right, let's get to it here. Football, everyone's been waiting for the football talk. Bengals, Jaguars, 9.5 point spread. 40.5 is the total in this game here. Obviously, Jacksonville's favored at home. Bengals. Tony, your Bengals, they're in rough shape right now. No Joey B. They do get T. Higgins back, but what's that do for them without Joey B? I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, it's tough. It is definitely a tough scene where I don't know what you can really expect from the Cincinnati team. The spread's what? 10? Let me see.
9.5 right now on FanDuel.
It went back to 9.5. Yeah, I mean 9.5, 10, depending on where you're looking. 10 on DraftKings, 9.5 FanDuel. You check all the lines out on that unabated tool we have up on Run Pure site, a free tool on there. But I don't know, man. I most of the week I've kind of felt like Cincinnati was going to play good. The more I think about it, though, it's like, man, they have nothing really to play for. They know they're not going anywhere with Jake Browning in there. Jacksonville's at home. Jacksonville's really been good, too. We can go to the old schedule test with the Jags, and let's do it because it's an interesting for me. The only game that they've really sucked in, we called it on the Print Factory, 49ers coming to town. 49ers is not a good matchup for anyone, so I'm not even holding that against them, honestly, because the Jaguars aren't a title contender. They're more of that pretender range where they're working their way up. But so they won in Houston last week, which is a good win. They pounded Tennessee, 49ers game. They beat the Steelers pretty easy, 20-10. Beat the Saints on the road, pounded the Colts, beat the Bills on the road, beat the Falcons. I mean, they've been good for 5 or 6 weeks now. And you got a longer week at home, Monday Night Football. What do they call it? Duval County or whatever, where they always tweet Duval. I just think I have a hard time seeing the Bengals compete. I wish I could make the case. I really do. But I just can't see them competing. Just as far as matchups, though, I like to talk about the flow chart just because I put a lot of time into it. I think we see points, though, is kind of my take on it. The total's only 40.5. I actually think we see points, and maybe it's finally a game where the defenses don't just crush, because I know for sure Jacksonville's going to score. Jacksonville's going to move the ball on the Bengals. They have a lot of weapons. I think they move the ball pretty easy, and then it's just a matter how much can the Bengals score with a backup quarterback on the road against a pretty good defense. I mean, I think they can get, 17 points. If you get up in there 17, 21, that range, you're going to see a decent number of points in this game. So for me, I do think Jacksonville handles them pretty easy, but I think we see points as kind of my stronger take of the two.
Yeah, that's interesting. I do think it's a shot. We see some points. Fallick, you're the ultimate contrarian on this show, I would say.
He's gotta love the Bengals.
I was just gonna. You gotta love the Bengals here.
So here's
like
the
Mixon.
thing.
He'll come in and be like, "I freaking love Mixon tonight." He gets all the workload.
Stop. Just let me speak. remove the score and things like that. I think Jacksonville wins. But the thing that I think is not being considered right now is that the projections, nonetheless, on these point per dollar wise, seem to be inflated towards the Jaguars with what their current situation is. And I think that you're seeing, and I know you talk about it, Tony, a lot. ETR has that great roster construction model tool, and right now it has 63% almost on 5-1 or 4-2s for Jacksonville. And I think that there are plenty of routes that 3-3 Jacks or 3-3 is the way to go. And I think that it makes complete sense. And I don't really agree with the projections that I'm seeing for some of these guys on Jacksonville. Like, let's start off with Etienne is hurt right now. He's injured. I think that they'd love to give him another week of just a low expectations of snaps and playing time. And if that happens, you're not going to see him hit his 16 plus projection that he has. And you have Dearness Johnson, who they're giving run to right now. Like, he's getting solid runs. So I'm not sure why you need to project him that high. And like, there are plenty of other pieces that like Evan Ingram is in a great spot right now. And I think he's projected fine, but his price tag is also there to limit what his upside is. Ridley's the same way. Christian Kirk's the same way, where I think that for Cincinnati, it's at least somewhat condensed still. And the big thing is that you have to consider, and the one thing that I'm really struggling with is, who did Jake Browning throw the ball to the most last week? It was the tight end position. But the thing is, the tight ends are still playing a perfect third split is the problem. But I think you can still project them nicely and hope that they work out. But I think the Jaguars defense is way over projected, like insanely over projected. They don't get many points. And I don't think just because you have a backup quarterback in doesn't mean that they're going to run back a touchdown 2 times and or even get a ton of sacks and stuff like that. I just don't think that happens. So the big thing to me is that the prices down low are the guys down low below like Tanner Hudson and are really tough for me to play those guys. So it always gets me to the mid-tier build. When I play a mid-tier build, it's going to require me to play more of a 3-3 build than it is a 4-2 or a 5-1 build. And that is the thing I am seeing. And again, Jacksonville can share the wealth with all these guys. Zay Jones is healthy now. He could get some good run. They're playing this Luke Farrell guy some, and I think he takes away a little bit. I don't think he's a good play, but I think he takes away a little bit. So I think that you can play routes where Bengals are the 3-3 or even a 2-4 Bengals build makes sense when you're tightening up these rotations.
Yeah, I actually agree with Falk a lot of what he said, honestly, where I'm a little heavier and I'm going to bump some of these projections on the Bengals, but I'm heavier. I'm not playing the 5-1 for sure. I knew that coming in. But even like the 3-3s, I think there's more plays like in the flex for the Bengals anyways, where like you're going to want some of these studs from Jacksonville anyways. So I do think Jacksonville wins, but I do think the Bengals can cover and hang in there. And honestly, that's going to lead me to more of a balance where I play a lot of 3-3s and I'm fading the heavy Jacksonville builds from my lineup. 58% 5-1 is crazy. Is absolutely crazy.
I think 5-1's like very much better than you guys.
I think the 5-1
Bengals
like
defense is the biggest weakness you guys aren't talking about. Like, they've been getting destroyed by every position.
I'm overprojecting every single one of them. I'm not disagreeing with you.
Who are the good plays from the Bengals? Like, who are we talking about?
So wait, so you don't like anyone from the Bengals?
I like Chase, but he's overpriced. I definitely like Browning just because he's a cheap quarterback. I mean, he's 8,800. T. Higgins is overpriced. Mixon is an easy X button, like the easiest X button I've ever seen. Tyler Boyd sucks. Like, I like the tight ends. I like Tanner Hudson. I like Sample at 1,200. I even like Wilcox just because he's 800. But that's like 6 guys. Like,
I think Trenton Irwin's still in play.
He's not playing with these guys back. He doesn't play with 3 receivers. You can't play him. Only when someone's out.
He's so cheap, though.
You can't play him. I'm telling you, I got the code cracked on Irwin. I'm just saying, like, play him when someone's out. Don't play him when they're all in.
I agree with Tony there. And my
all right. So, but why can't we have to overpay for some of these Bengals guys? Like, they're going to be so low owned.
I think Jamar Chase and T. Higgins and Joe Mixon are the guys that you want, plus the quarterback and the kicker, and obviously the tight ends. Like, that's that's where I'm hitting is in that realm. And I think that the word that really
Mixon is the worst play I've ever seen in my entire life.
okay.
He's the one guy I don't
oh my
like.
God, he's a bad play.
The
He's
word that
like.
you use, GSU, is I want to pay up for these Jacksonville studs. And my question is, who's really a stud for Jacksonville right now?
Calvin
Receivers,
Ridley.
Christian Kirk,
Calvin
Ridley, Ingram. These
They're not
guys are
studs.
great plays.
I mean, Ingram's 9,200. Like that's I
He's
put that as stud
6,200.
pricing. What?
It's fine. The
Ingram's
pricing is fine. That's not what I'm
6,200.
saying.
Calvin Ridley.
No.
Calvin Ridley is 9,200.
You said Ingram.
Well, no, I said Calvin Ridley first, and he said he's not a stud.
But like a stud doesn't have a 4-point floor.
Okay, Falik, on this slate, when I say stud, I'm talking about the guys that are priced 9K or above. On any Showdown slate, that's what I talk. So when I hear stud on a Showdown slate, I'm talking about the most expensive guys. So let's talk about it. So the top 4 guys right now, pricing wise, on this slate is Trevor Lawrence at 10.8. You got Travis Etienne at 10.2, Jamar Chase at 9.4, and then you got Calvin Ridley at 9.2. Okay, so those are all the guys 9K and above. So those are the studs, Falik. Those are the studs that I'm talking about. 3 of the 4 are Jacksonville guys. All right? Calvin Ridley, to me, is a stud. Absolute stud. What he's been doing the last 2 weeks, he's a stud. Okay, I don't care what anyone says. That is stud to me. I don't care about his floor, whatever. He had some bad games this year. I agree. But what he's been doing the last 2 weeks, man, he looks a lot better. So I don't know how we're talking about him as like he's not a stud. He is a stud. And I could pay for him. Why not? I'm definitely going to play some of him in the cap.
I don't disagree with you, but I'm going to be even on the field with him more than I think he's just a great play.
He's going to be low on the topper to the whole argument.
I know. I'm going to be the guy that I'm going to be underweight on, and that's what it is creating my lineups. Is I'm going to be way underweight on Travis Etienne, and I'll take my chances. That's my answer.
I do agree with you on that. I don't like him, so I do agree with that part. I just think the Jacksonville passing game is just so much better than anything else in this game.
Sure. No, I don't disagree with you. And I want to be clear with that. I think that,
so we're all on board that we're lower on the running back.
The only thing I disagreed with you guys is that I think 5-1 is definitely in play with a backup quarterback on the road and everybody overpriced. Sure. And
here's what I'll say: the easiest way I'll put it is that what I'm getting, and I'm running my numbers, and it's giving me this. I'm ending up with 55% captain Trevor Lawrence and 45% flex Trevor Lawrence, and I'm playing him with one or two.
Allowed to play quarterback captains on this show.
I know.
Only if they win.
Only when they ship you.
But I think you can play. I think you can play it where you're even with the field or a little overweight on their key players. I'm going to be underweight on Zay Jones. I don't think I'm going to have any Zay Jones, and I'm going to keep it. I'm going to keep it tight like I always do with Christian Kirk, with Calvin Ridley, with Evan Ingram, and then I'm going to play a little bit of the kicker with it or something like that. Some McManus. I think McManus is definitely in play. Is where
you're saying all the good plays. I'm back there.
I know.
With you now.
All right, so let's do this here because we're going all over the place here, and let's talk about captain before we start going all over into these different areas. Who are we playing in the captain? Tony, I'll throw it to you first. The top guys, those 9K guys that I talked about. Who
I don't always do this, but I don't see how you could play a Cincinnati guy in the captain. So that thins it even more. There's lots of pass tonight. I just want people to be clear, in my opinion. There's lots of pass tonight where this team gets totally blown off the field. Like there is a lot of pass where this game ends up very, very ugly. Make no mistake about it. So I'm just going Jacksonville captain for sure. Obviously, Trevor Lawrence will be in there. And then the guys that Falik just said, Ridley, Kirk, Ingram are my – that's where I want to be. Will I have any ETN in my 150? Yeah, I'll have probably – if I had to guess between 0 and 10% ETN. I don't like that, though. I do agree with Falik. I'm not going to full fade ETN in the captain, though, because he scored a lot of touchdowns, and he's a 10-point favorite at home. I do agree with Fallick that I don't like it, but this is kind of the new transformation I've had where I don't want to full fade spots like that could just end the slate. Like he could have a touchdown right away that just ends it, and he could score 2-3. So I'll have him 0 to 10, but for sure my favorite captains are easy tonight. Lawrence, Ridley, Kirk, Ingram, and Ridley I'd put in the bucket with the DJ Moore play where he's overpriced, but has the upside and the ownership to conquer the slate. So, I mean, that's me. I got 4 captains I like plus ETN 0 to 10%. So definitely no Bengals in the captain for me, though, like at all. I don't even consider any of them.
All right, Kevin. I don't know why we're jacking up the screen. I don't know who the fuck's jacking up our screen, but
it's Wiley in the background messing.
There he is. Get in here, Prez.
You got to do it. You got to do it like right away, Wiley. It's got to be 1-2.
I didn't even see him though. He wasn't in there, and then
he wasn't. He somehow did it from before he even came on. He was doing.
Do you think the goat opened that door behind him?
All right, my
captain. He was setting up his bit for the goat.
How long do you think before he talks? Can he hear us with the new camera and lighting?
Yes, I can hear you with my new camera and lighting.
Oh, baby, you came in nice and strong.
Yeah, I like that.
That was strong.
Came in with force.
Man, that was from the gut right there.
Continue on. Continue on. People want to hear facts. Captain time. Let's go. I've got some facts.
Fallick, you want to hear some facts?
Again, I haven't limited things or anything like that yet, but Trevor Lawrence is going to be in my – if I'm playing 150, he'll be on my captain 50% of them. So in my 3 max build, he'll be in the captain spot 2 of 3 spots. And then other pieces that I have at the captain spot, Jake Browning. I have some McManus is hitting right now. Calvin Ridley. I have a little bit of Jamar Chase and Christian Kirk.
Prez, yeah, you just jumped on, but we were talking captains here, and we were talking the top tier. So who you got like in the top tier bucket for captains?
Well, since no one else, this is a night where you get a guy like Lawrence who runs them in, who's good, who can score 29 against a terrible Bengals team that's missing, that's weak on defense right now. Cam Taylor-Britt is out. Their offense sucks, and I really think that the Jaguars are going to put one up on the Bengals in the 31-13 realm, right? So maybe the Bengals get one in. Evan McPherson has a 9-point night, but you get a Trevor Lawrence type 28-point night potentially. Let's say 23 or 24. Okay,
that's what I've been projected for. I think that. Yeah, I agree with you.
Yeah, I have 28, 26, 283, and 1, and then maybe he runs one in, maybe he doesn't. Doesn't really need to, but he typically does. And so 24-point night, 24 to 20.8 point night. I mean, even when you're trying to use contest sims and duck around the field and be creative, they're putting him in 150 lineups with like 40% captain. So that means that regardless of what you think, Lawrence is probably going to be the optimal captain. Chase is a good price, but he's a 13-point guy. I have a rule for one of Zay Jones, Kirk, or Ridley to be on the lineup. But he's got a lot of options. He can throw to Etienne. He can throw to Kirk. He can throw to Ingram. He can throw to Ridley. He can throw to Zay Jones. And even like a Farrell, like a tight end. I mean, I think he's underprojected. I mean, he can put up 5 points. So I have a ton of 5-1 builds right now. A ton of 5-1 builds. Probably 50% 5-1 right now, only because I think our Bengals get smoked. So,
all right. Yeah, Prez likes the 5-1 angle, which I think a lot of people like. Honestly, it makes a lot of sense. Bengals not looking good. For my captain plays, I mean, I think there's 2 clear ones for me. I will say, I think Trevor Lawrence in this spot is fine if you want to go there in the captain because he does run. He will run. And honestly, when he runs, it hurts ETN. So if you're lower on ETN, it makes a lot of sense to play, I think, Trevor Lawrence. Because earlier in the year, and Tony, we talked about this, right? Because you got him on the 50K best ball team. We talked about it. What was killing Trevor Lawrence? ETN was just getting 2 touchdowns. It's felt like every game earlier in the year. It was just touchdown. Just every time they got near the goal line, he was just getting them. And it was just killing Trevor Lawrence from having the monster games. And what have we seen the last 2 games? Trevor Lawrence get those touchdowns. You know what I mean? So, and he's running them in. So
I agree with Fallick. I agree with Fallick here because, and I'm a little lower on ETN, maybe not as low as Fallick. But you've had 3 like mediocre weeks from ETN. Now he's played Tennessee, San Francisco, and at Houston. Previously, he was smashing. But then you've got the one question mark in Johnson, D'Ernest Johnson, right?
D'Ernest.
He seems to get a reception for 45 yards every game. Like
he's always been a personal favorite of mine, so I can be sold easy. I love that guy.
I can see him being 7 points minimum, but maybe getting ETN's touchdown. ETN
or if it's a blowout like we like, I mean, he could get the whole fourth quarter.
No, he's not getting it. He's not. That's the thing, Tony, is he's not getting the fourth quarter. It's going to be Tank getting the fourth quarter in that case. Like D'Ernest is I think D'Ernest's price is really hard to want to play him unless you truly think
4,200.
Yeah. Would you rather have kickers?
How can you not like ETN but not like D'Ernest?
It's not even that I don't like D'Ernest. I have D'Ernest projected for 7 points, which I think is fair, and he's not hitting much. He's only hitting 10%. It's not that I don't like. It's not like I don't like D'Ernest. He's getting 40% of the snaps and stuff.
Like I know what you're saying. You're saying he's the direct competition at ETN. If it's not a competition, the game's over. They're not going to need to play him as much. They're going to go the third string.
Here's why I think that's happening is that I have McPherson and I have the Jags defense rated probably higher on points.
Correct.
And he's pushing him out. But if not D'Ernest, because they're correcting us in the comment section, D'Ernest, if he gets a touchdown, let's say he gets 13 points, we're probably fucked. That's the problem. That's the biggest question mark for me. And
he's my favorite player. I love D'Ernest tonight.
Why are we going there? Because he's one of my favorite players too.
He's such a good play. I love him.
Playing with an injury for a while now. He's been on the injury report for a while now. He's been in and out of games for a while now, and we saw it. We've seen it now with D'Ernest Johnson, where like if he goes out, he's coming in. He's the guy. It's not Tank anymore. It was Tank early in the season. It's not him anymore. It's D'Ernest Johnson. So I don't know how, if you're lower on ETN like Fallick, I don't know how you're not higher on D'Ernest, honestly, because you're all honestly hoping that he steals a touchdown or who knows, ETN gets hurt, which has happened in game many times this year.
Or Trevor Lawrence throws 3 touchdowns and they get 2 or 3 field goals, and it turns into that neither of them get the touchdowns. And it goes. But
I'm just saying, if you're playing 150 and you're lower on ETN, you should be. I think you should be higher on.
I am high. I have D'Ernest, whatever you want to call him, projected for 7.5. The problem is that I have Tanner Hudson projected for that same amount.
Oof.
And I have Evan McPherson and I have Brandon McManus projected for 9 and 11 each. So it's giving me a lot of those guys.
How the hell is McPherson going to get to 9 or 10? How are they going to?
He can get 2 field goals long and point after for 3. I mean, for 13 points total, I have McPherson at 9. I have
McPherson at 9.
I have McPherson at 9. I have McAnus at 7, even because he'll get 4-point afters in a field goal, maybe. You want McPherson kicking these 49-yard, 50-yard field goals because they're not going to get in the end zone, and they suck. And that's why. And I have a lot of my 5-1 builds have McPherson. That's why it's kicking D'Ernest Johnson out. The other one is Ingram. I mean, I think Ingram is maybe the best, one of the best value on the board.
Yeah, I mean, Ingram and Ridley are the 2 best captain plays. I'll say it. One's going to be low owned, and
I don't think they're
he's
best
overpriced. I think they're the best captain plays. One's going to be low owned. That's Ridley, and then Evan Ingram is like I talk about this all the time, but price matters on Showdown for captain. It mattered last night. I tried to tell people. I jumped on the show. I tried to talk people into the receivers. it's going to matter again here because if Evan Ingram, who, by the way, he dropped 1 touchdown last week and 1 touchdown, he was wide open and Trevor Lawrence missed him completely in the back of the end zone. So he could have 2 touchdowns in that game or last time they played. He is going to crush this Cincy team. It's just a matter of does he get in the box. If he gets in the box, he's going to be, I think, the captain winner. Here's the thing, and this goes to Tony's point about quarterbacks you can put in captain, and Trevor Lawrence is one of them because he runs and he puts them in the end zone with his legs, right? Plus he throws a lot of them too. This seems like a Tyreek Hill type build where you have a super max player and only one of them is going to get like the Tyreek Hill points, and so he's just going to be the captain. 24 to 28 points, maybe more than that against the Bengals team. He's just almost now. I'm gonna have diversity at captain, but I'm with Fallick. I mean, I think would you say 50% captain, Trevor Lawrence? I just got 60% on this new run that I did.
Yeah, and I did 2 uniques and I did contest sims for the contest I'm in, so it brought him down. If I didn't do that, he's more like 80%. So
again, I'm just projecting him at 23, which I don't think is an unfair projection.
And how many 5-1 builds do you get out of that?
50%, 50% 5-1, which I'm not scared of.
Fallick, what are you getting for 5-1?
6%.
Okay. So Fallick is clearly changing some of the projections on the
Bengals
guys.
side. Yeah.
Yes, the Bengals side. So he's higher on the Bengals side. And let's go down. We can, obviously we gave our favorite captain plays. Let's talk about the mid-tier. You got guys like T. Higgins, Joe Mixon. If you want to throw Christian Kirk in there, Tyler Boyd, the kickers, defenses. What are we doing with these guys? Tony, you want to eat your pen or you want to?
I mean, it's simple for me tonight. I mean, I won't have the Bengals defense all that much. I'll leave them in just because the same thing is always good differential, but I won't put them much. The local diner. McPherson, if I play him, I want points early, so hopefully you get like a 50-yarder, like one of the first couple drives, lock that in. But I don't like either one of those. And then Jacksonville, I like both. So, what'd you call him? McAnus? I like McAnus. And
it's MCM Anus, yes.
I like him and the
Press
Jaguars.
is coming in here butchering all the names. I love it.
Yeah.
Make everyone a new nickname.
I like the McAnus, but Jags D, I like the Jaguars D a decent amount too. Because one thing I think when a lot of times when a backup's in there, we talk about this on some of the shows. I don't like it as much because they go more run heavy and stuff. But I think the Bengals still come out and try to chuck it around in this game. So with them being aggressive, I think that has to help the Jags D. So I'm high on the Jag, just like a lot of the game. I'm high on the Jag side, low on the Bengals side. I honestly might fade McPherson. So that's one of the things I'd kind of disagree with. I just don't. The more I'm thinking about it and listening to you guys talk, and you're bringing up great points, I just feel like the Bengals are going to have troubles. I'm with Wiley with that. I think.
So you went from them scoring some points.
I still think I like the over still. No, because I still am saying 17. I still like the over as my main play. I'm really struggling with my head thinking the Bengals are gonna move the ball pretty good. I'm struggling with it.
And I guess the one thing you brought up earlier, which was the price tags on a lot of these Bengals guys. It's not like you're getting a lot of value, I think, at some of these price tags. So I guess that's something to bring up. Fallick, Prez, what do you got on the mid-tier here?
I mean, I'm really low on Higgins. I'm low on Boyd. Zay Jones. Again, I had a rule for Zay Jones, Ridley, or Kirk, at least one of them be it in the lineup, either in captain spot or flex. And, in McPherson, I put at 9 only because I can see the Bengals getting one stupid-ass touchdown and then McPherson having, 2 long ones or mid to long ones, or McPherson doing everything, right? Because they don't get in. And do I think that Browning and this team is going to compete with the Jaguars on the road? No, they got beat by Pittsburgh at home, who just got blown out by Arizona at home, right? the Jags, this could be like a 40-3 type game. I'm looking for Bengals players to play. And in any other world, Chase at that price is a great price. And you'll probably still, I put him at 13, right? What I have him at? 13. I have him at 5 for 80, which I think is aggressive still. I don't want to be there, but I am. Hudson, I don't like as much as Fallick. I think the one person, and I don't know you'll need him, but in the idea where you have a lot of these high-end guys on the lineup, the best price at the low end of the range for dollars, I think because Mixon is so dusty, is Travion Williams. I mean, at $200, $400, I mean, they got to start using this.
What about your boy? You missed the opportunity. Your best ball take.
Yoshibas?
Golden opportunity right there. I thought you were going with it. You let me down. Could have been best ball take number one. It was
I'll take the jacket off, Ghost Mantis. There you go.
Oh, did not expect long sleeves there. Did not expect long
I
sleeves.
did. Have you seen him?
I'm trying to list this guy, but his jacket is too ridiculous. It's fucking cold in here.
He dresses nice. Like, look at that.
It's sponsored by Old Navy.
What'd you expect him to say? Chase Brown?
Oh, I thought
Chase
for
Brown?
sure he was going Chase Brown.
No way.
When he
They
let
realized
into
he
it. I
sucks.
thought it was coming for
Hey,
sure.
no, there's no heat at this office, and it's haunted. Ghost Mantis, you may be the ghost. It drops to like a 63 degrees in here, and literally Nathan just is right across from me.
Up top, it doesn't drop to no 63. It's like 103 up in the top deck.
No, the brick just fell off the wall about 5 minutes ago. So there you go. Sponsored by Old Navy. Old Navy.
This is a very unsafe and uncomfortable working conditions that you have your employees working in, by the way.
I know. It's crazy. You know what? Shit has been happening over the last 24 hours, even the last show yesterday. The glass was broken in the kitchen randomly. Brick's been falling off the wall. Ice Cube's been tossing around the kitchen. Like there's some sort of feeling right now. So yes, it's cold in here.
Do these guys ever win? Will McNeil? Do they ever win?
Guys? Yes, we win. Thank you, Will McNeil.
Appreciate it,
All
Will.
right.
You can hit the like button too.
Like 200K this week.
Mid-tier for me. I think that it is
6,000 last week there, Will.
I think it is easy for you to be equal with the industry on T. Higgins, number one. Joe Mixon, I think that he's a fine play solely because he's going to be on the field 85% of the time, 90% of the time. And I'll take my chances when a guy like that's going to be on the field that much. And it works for me. Evan Ingram, perfect play. No problem at all. Tyler Boyd, Zay Jones, no interest. Jaguars defense, I have minimal interest in. Brandon McManus, I have a good amount of interest in, as well as Evan McPherson, Dearness Johnson, and Tanner Hudson I like. And I'm getting some Bengals defense solely because I have them projected at 5 points, which I think is a fair projection. And Cam, don't forget that Cam Robinson's out today, or possibly for the year. I don't even remember. But Walker Little's moving from left guard to left tackle, so that could be a little bit of a challenge. I'm not going to say it's a challenge, but a little bit of challenge against this defensive line and the linebackers on a blitzing model as well.
Like I have Ingram at 6,200. Ingram, even though this Farrell guy, Luke Farrell, is a little bit concerning. I think his projection is probably a little bit low at 1. He could be, what do I have him at? 3 for 30, that's high. 2 for 20, that's 4. That's still 4x or 2x the market.
But
Ingram,
be aware real quick that Luke Farrell's questionable right now. And
I see that. The big Q. But he never lets us down, Valak. But Ingram, 6,200, even at 11, I mean, I can see him getting a touchdown being at 15-point projection. Even at 11, he's still one of the best plays on the Jag side.
By far, with the price, yeah. I mean, he has to be one of the better plays overall. That's why I'm saying at captain, Like he just has to be in your pool. I don't know how you're leaving him out. He's going to be popular though. He has to be at that price tag. So that's the only thing. But yeah, I'm with you guys.
What bit am I? I didn't even do a bit yet.
If Luke Farrell,
I think
real
Not
quick,
a bit. It's reality.
it's real. It's real. It's a real. Like
I'm not making
this
shit up. It's absolutely real.
Did you see his face too when I said that? It's real. I'm not
because we can feel it right now. It's just very odd. So
if Luke Farrell's out, do you have interest in this Strange guy? And then if it's Strange and Farrell is out, do you have interest in
Strange?
I put Strange at 0. Just
Okay, but if Luke Farrell's out, do you have more interest in him though?
Possibly, yeah. I mean, because look at the snap counts. I mean, it goes. I mean, Strange played 30% of the snaps last week, right?
If Farrell's out, Strange is one of the best plays of the slate.
Correct.
Yeah, that's what I think. And if Farrell and Strange, so let's say if Farrell and Strange are both out, are you going to play this? Are you going to play Coach Peterson, Doug Peterson's son?
Absolutely.
He's 200 as well.
Is he 200?
Yeah.
If he's 200,
I'll play anyone that's on the field at 200 for the record.
Okay. All right.
Especially a tight end that's the coach's son.
Yeah, they're playing two tight end a lot right now. That's like even on their depth chart, they have 2 tight ends listed. They also have 3 wide receivers, so they have 12 guys on their depth chart.
Mark, let's settle down here. Settle down. It is not hockey. This is not hockey. Let's relax.
Hacky
Football.
Now, here's the thing, Falik. If you get a Lawrence captain and ETN smashes, then you're probably going to have to dig down deep in that level and get a Peterson or a Travion.
Yeah.
Irv Smith is not a bad price either. I mean, he was at one point tight end 1. He's now $1,000.
I want to play.
$1,000.
I think I'm making a mistake in the way that I play of projecting these Cincinnati tight ends so high that I have them because they literally split it 1/3, 1/3, 1/3, and I have no confidence in which one.
That's the one thing I agree with, Falik. I like the tight ends. Now you're getting off them.
No, I like them because they're
getting them. That's the tough part, but I like them too.
I mean, I think it's still somewhat clear that Tanner Hudson's the pass catching guy. The other guys are more blockers, but they do come open because it had the play we talked about the whole time when I shipped that night when Sample leaked out on a run play. It happened again. So if it happens once, it's kind of lucky. 2 times, a little bit more, and it's there, and they're going to need offense. So I mean, these guys are cheap. Drew Sample's got a couple touchdowns now, and he's 1,200. Irv's 1,000, like Wiley said, and Tanner Hudson's the guy that's looked great. So I don't really see why we wouldn't like. I know the role is kind of a third.
Even Wilcox caught a pass. Wilcox caught a pass or had a target.
Wilcox too for 800. I think there's some risk, but they're all so cheap. I mean, who are you playing at 1,000 that's not risky?
That's the best point. There's not.
Okay, so
is my Trenton Irwin idea. So like he's 18. Was he 1,800? So
don't play
Irwin. Not many.
Stop bringing freaking Irwin up.
So
right,
is
not allowed to play Irwin when these dudes are out.
So Tony, is the answer that I'm too high on Tanner Hudson possibly because he's 3K more than the others?
Well, what do you project Hudson at?
Right now, I have him at 7.
That's a lot, I think.
No,
but if you look at his last 4 games, he's gotten 5.8, 8.9, 9.3, and 8.5 with no touchdowns.
I got Hudson at 6 right now. Is that who you're talking about?
I think you guys are all too low on Hudson.
Really?
Not too low at 7.
You just said it. He's been better than 7, 4 straight games without a touchdown. I mean, he's at that projection without a touchdown. I don't know how that could be too high.
Now it's time to go look at
project him over like you project him over like
7's a good projection if you don't think he gets a touchdown. But if you think he gets a touchdown, then I think you can go a little higher. I always like to project we've seen this a lot this year where if a guy has a ton of touchdowns, I think you got to bring him a little lower. And if he just never scores, like Hudson doesn't have one, then I think you should bump him up. He's going to get a touchdown. He's a pass catcher.
He never scores though is because
He sucks.
It feels like they always play him when they're like kind of midfield, and when they get close, they always bring Sample in because they need a blocker.
And it's a good point for sure.
That's
Sample
why
and
it feels like he never scores.
Irv and Drew Sample play more snaps and are a quarter the price.
But they're not pass catchers.
That's the problem. Well, Irv is, but
Irv sucks balls. Like
of
course they do. The Bengals suck balls.
Hey, get your note out. Get the phone bag out. We need the note.
No.
J-Ruff says Strange is inactive, by the way.
Oh, I was kind of excited to play Strange.
Oh, yeah. That means our
I don't
guy.
know if that means Farrell's going to be in.
He's got to be active. If they,
what is that?
Maybe not, I guess, because
I would put Ingram on every lineup. I'll make a rule. Ingram is going to be on the winner.
The only problem with Ingram, so I totally agree with you guys. First of all, Ingram is the best play of the night, but he's going to be so high.
Luke Farrell is active.
Farrell is active?
Yes.
There's your play. Fallick. I have him 6 points.
Elijah Cook. So the only player that would be projected for is Brenton Strange, who is active. Is it active? I mean,
yeah.
So, I don't understand how you can have. What did you just say? You had. How can you have Farrell? You think Hudson's over projected, but you have Farrell the same as him?
Me?
No, Prez, the lighting man.
Luke Farrell had 5 targets last week, 3 for 55 for 8.5.
So how's that different than Hudson?
Well, let me tell you this right now. Hudson's on the field 30% of the time. Farrell's on the field for, this is with Strange, 42% of the time. That's with Strange being on the field for 32%. So what's he going to be, 50, 60? That's why. Yeah. Plus he's cheaper. Plus he's a Jaguar. He's half the price of Hudson.
I don't like Luke Farrell. I'm just saying, I don't like Luke Farrell.
What school did he go to?
No fucking idea.
Gun to your head. Tony, what school did he go to?
Iowa.
I usually know these, but I do not know Luke. It's
Iowa.
got to be a big Ten school.
No, I'm going to say.
Do you not know?
Washington State.
I usually know. I'm guessing a Big Ten school, though.
Washington State. Oh, shit.
It's got to be a Big Ten school.
Ohio State. 6'5".
Big Ten. I get partial credit.
240.
Yeah, I get partial credit.
Big Ten, baby. I knew it was a Big Ten guy.
Big Ten.
He grew up 10 minutes from you in Perry, Ohio.
Is he from here? Seriously?
Yes.
What high school did he go to?
Your high school. His name's Luke Farrell Niehaus. He's your son.
Luke
Prez.
Son.
What?
Prez.
Sorry, what?
You're telling us that Luke Farrell is on the field, blah blah blah, percentage of snaps, but you do realize of the percentage of snaps, he was on the field for 8 of 45 passing plays.
Thank you, Evan.
Yeah. So I mean, Strange is out, so he's going to pick up percentage.
Strange was on there for 5 more than him, or for 5. Right. It makes 13.
I know you want to talk yourself into Hudson, and you can talk yourself into Hudson.
No, I already have Hudson plenty.
Yeah.
There's no way Farrell is. Don't get me. There's no way Farrell is going to play as Hudson. Hudson's a pass catcher.
Who's throwing to Farrell?
I like Farrell too, so I'm kind of in the middle of you guys because I like Farrell too, but he can't be as good a play as Hudson.
Who's throwing to Hudson at the Jaguars defense?
Who's playing against a prevent all night when they're up 3 touchdowns?
Bingo.
I definitely think that if you believe the Bengals get crushed, you should be playing the team from behind.
How do the Bengals? That's the question we really haven't. How do the Bengals not get crushed in this game? How does that?
We agree on that.
Come? I'm just saying, totally to flip it though in our head. What's our case that they come, they compete, and they're in this game? What do they have to do?
Jamar Chase. Jamar Chase is his name, and he's the best. He's one of the best receivers in the league. Jamar Chase. He has to make a play. He has to pull a Debo. Literally has to pull a Debo. Break a tackle to the house. Debo Samuel does it all the time. We watched him do it actually twice in that last game. Simple plays, like screen plays, like that last play.
3 of them were the same, right through the gut.
I'm just saying, though, those are the type of plays Jamar Chase has to break, I think. That's the way they – maybe we're
Did y'all just see my kid walk in with a football helmet on his head?
No, I missed it.
Is that the thing where Wiley goes like this and a kid comes in with the helmet?
Literally.
I might have to play a little Jamar Chase captain.
There it is.
Yes.
Bingo! We got it.
You're supposed to do it at the end.
It's my favorite.
You're supposed
Somebody
to do it
did
at
say,
the
what did
end.
they say for the they did tell me for the
Yeah,
other one,
Trevor
you gotta, like,
Bryant sent us the thing. So fireworks, 2 thumbs up, rain, 2 thumbs down, balloons, use two
I'm not doing the rain.
fingers to
There
make
we
the
go.
peace sign, and then confetti, make 2 peace signs with both hands. There you
Fair,
go.
Falk, you were supposed to leave for like a minute so we could talk about you.
Sorry.
It's a good segment of the show.
Yeah, I think that's the way though, Tony.
No, I think
don't know.
I think the way is the Bengals defense will have to show up, and I maybe would have thought they would if Cam Taylor-Britt, who is their,
they've
you know,
been so bad even with him.
they're bad with him, and he was the sort of the energy and the light. They're not good. They're not good. Joe Burrow is everything to this team. The play calling is terrible. Zach Taylor is 4-100 without Joe Burrow playing. He's a terrible coach. It's a 31-13 is at best, I think, an outcome for the Bengals. 40-3. Let's go, Jags. I want to be a Jags fan tonight. T won't join me, but
I'm bumping up Jamar Chase's projection.
I still have some of him. I mean, honestly, he's a
Bumping
good
him
price.
up. I'm going big on Jamar Chase. It's the only way they win. I figured it out. It's the only way they stay competitive. It's Jamar Chase.
And I think it's just easy to be equal or above the field on everybody if you fade 1 or 2 guys in those. Like, I think that the 3 I'm very low or fading 4 pieces above 4,200 or 4,000. Travis Etienne, Tyler Boyd, Zay Jones, and Jaguars defense. If you get rid of those 4, pretty much, you're able to be equal or above the field on everybody else.
You getting rid of Jaguars defense too, Fallick? I might do that as well. They're going to be so high.
Yeah.
For 9 points? I think it's
They're going to be high. They're going to be high owned. You can't play defense like that. They're the Jaguars. I mean, they're decent, but they're not like that.
Please don't fade the Jaguars.
I faded better
dude.
defenses. I faded the Dallas defense when they were massively high. I faded so many defenses when they were high on in Showdown. I don't know how we are like.
The Jaguars now have the Colts.
Defense.
The Jaguars have the Colts and the Texans on their heels now in a playoff race.
God,
right?
Screw the Jaguars. They're out.
No.
You're out.
Phil's going to the. Everyone hated Metcalf. No one hated Metcalf. What are we? No one's ever hated a guy like DK Metcalf in Showdown. He housed too. Yeah, we might not have said captain, all of us, but we didn't hate him. Like,
I'm pretty sure I brought up.
We hated Geno. Make fun of us for Geno.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure I brought up that because DK Metcalf was the worst play, he was the best play in Showdown on the Seahawks.
Always.
And I bumped his projection.
No.
I'm pretty sure I said those exact same words, so you can go look it up on the show.
Make fun of Geno. I
check
made fun of Geno for sure.
I didn't
That's
like
the guy
Geno
to make
either.
fun of.
I'll agree. That game was absolutely fucked up at Dallas. Absolutely. I mean, 3 touchdowns for DK Metcalf. I mean, have your day. That was
listen, though, that's what happens when you play aggressive. You play aggressive, you get man. He threw the ball in the perfect spot, and DK friggin' ran with it. Like, that's what happens.
Last night I put Pacheco on every lineup. And even though I didn't have a lot of the Green Bay side, I'm still doing great. You get aggressive on your team.
Phil was saying he was 4% captain. Didn't mean you guys hated him. It was just in general. Yeah, it was general because his projection was low. That's why I was saying on that show, his projection was low. He hasn't done much, but that's probably why if you projected him ahead of Geno. Now, I didn't know Geno was going to come out and throw for 1 billion yards and have 30-something fantasy points, so was wrong there. But, yeah, it's the same concept, I guess, to your point, Phil, for Jamar Chase. People don't like him because they don't like Browning than they don't like Chase is why they don't like him, but still – it's the same idea, and he's crazy low projected. You bump him up ahead of a few of those other studs, that's going to be different. And I will do that.
Done working. We're fucked.
All right. Let's give plays of the days. We got to go.
We gotta go.
All right, boss is telling us we gotta leave. He's got.
We got to
the
get
pen out of
NBA
his
and
mouth.
stuff up.
Oh yeah,
We're almost hitting the 2-hour mark.
Kevin R is not getting any Old Navy coupons. That's
I'll
it.
tell you what, Kevin R is getting 100 into my PayPal earlier because those Eagles took the smoke, baby.
By the way, too, Kevin R gave me so much shit because we got off the show yesterday, Tony, and we didn't speak the name Jalen Hurts as a play. And I got so much shit from you. Didn't even say the best quarterback on the NFL's
the best quarterback
on the Woods show, the best quarterback in DFS. I love Kevin, by the way. I love Kevin, but he was giving me so much shit.
You said earlier you did love Kevin. Oh, we're not live though, are we?
Love Kevin.
Yeah,
No,
don't
we're
say
live.
that when we're live.
Kevin's the best.
We're not live.
I got to be
Kevin's my
honest.
favorite.
The Kevins of RPS are easily the highest quality.
He's still saying it was disrespectful. It was.
Nice Kevin.
Boy got
Nice
owned.
Kevin's the best Kevin. There's no doubt. Oh, there he is.
What
right
about
there.
Kevin
Nice
R and Kevin F?
No, Kevin.
What about who's
Kevin.
the dude that makes fun of Wiley? Who was the dude that was making fun of Wiley?
Josh D. Josh D.
Josh G.
Wait.
Yeah.
Wait, you don't like Wiley? Do you not like Kevin F?
Who the hell is Kevin F?
I don't even know who
I
Kevin
know,
F is.
But you're a
Get
yellow
Ballack
tag.
out of here
You're
with
a
the
yellow tag.
corniest joke. That was the corniest joke we've ever had.
I just want to know if I'm going to be paid
in
in the future instead.
Yeah.
Get him a timeout. I mean, put him on it. He needs
got to
a
do it in
timeout.
sequence here.
Get him on a timeout.
All right. Plays of the day.
That was the worst joke we've ever had on this show.
Alec is going to
Poor
think
Kevin's
about
just
what
sitting
he
down on
did.
the stage down there. The poor
He's
guy.
on a timeout.
Yeah, as a
Oh,
timeout,
boy.
he's thinking about what he's done
Yeah.
while we give plays of the day, and then he'll
All right.
come in. He deserves to be last
Look at
anyway.
that keyboard. Get him back in here just to show his keyboard. Look, what is he doing?
God, Tony, you're killing me right
Look
now.
at his keyboard.
There's a
All
big
right,
enough
Kevin
hole,
F.
There's a big enough hole in it that I can see it.
Look
I
at
can
that.
see
Buy a
through it.
new keyboard with your 200K.
How do I get shit from my chair and then no one
He's
talks
getting
shit
shit
about
right
Kevin?
now. What do you mean?
Oh, okay. Keep
Oh, and the press has a heater going in the video.
If you close out this bit,
Oh,
we can get
I'm
this.
dying. It's too good.
He did it nonchalantly too. That was perfect. Just like didn't say a word. Just
If you close out this fucking show, we can get the bit closed out.
all right. Plays of the day here.
Here's my
I'll
jacket.
go to
Come on,
Kevin.
go live for the
Kevin
play of the
Falik.
day. You're good.
Kevin
Go live.
Falik first with the play of the day. Kevin, what's your play of the day?
Go get some fashion.
Evan McPherson.
Oh my God.
What?
Jesus.
Oh.
Oh.
McPherson, play number one. Deprez, play of the day.
Oh, I would say Trevor Lawrence captain is a lock.
Oh, I
but
can't
will
say
be-
that. I didn't think I could say that.
I'll be more
but
bold. Look at this. Look at this hat. Has some fucking style. Bell staff.
Trevor
I will
Lawrence,
say-
Captain Evan
I'll-
McPherson, flex is my plays. There you go.
Evan Ingram. Evan Ingram will be on the winner.
Oh my
For sure.
God.
Take all the plays from us here. I will go with
You just
Mr.
said Trevor Lawrence and Evan Ingram.
I will go with Jamar Chase. Screw Trevor Lawrence, captain builds. We're going Jamar Chase in the top spot. It's the only way they can do it. I really actually hope that Calvin Ridley's the captain because I got so much best ball Calvin Ridley. So I won't be mad if that happens either. There's the one best ball take I'll have. Jamar Chase winning us the slate here. Tony, what do you got?
Fuck you.
Come on, Tony. Workbench. Come on. We all got to get there at some point. Let's go.
Is it on me?
Yeah, the workbench.
Yes,
What
you're the
else
last
is
person here.
workbench
I mean,
play?
Man, those plays were tough scene. I gotta recoup the whole segment here.
Hurry.
Wow.
This
Don't
heater's,
worry, you don't
this
have to
heater's
save
burned
us,
down.
Tony. You don't have to save us. There's no Taylor Swift on this slate for you to tell us to play, okay? Come on.
I mean, Press just said Trevor Lawrence and friggin' Evan Ingram.
Well, say Tanner Hudson or whatever you want. Say your
I
play.
like Taylor Hudson the more we talked about him, so
Yeah,
I'm kind
Taylor
of on Tony's side.
No, my play of the day is G. Ernest Johnson, baby. Let's go.
And with that, 4K Phallic, for the Prez, for
got a
Big
heater
T.
going.
Thank God we're done with this show. Go join Rump Your Sports, Rump Your Bets. Giblets44 is the code. Get 44% off your first month or weekly payment. We're out of here. Let's go.
Superman dive for number 9.
Wall working on Porter with the catch and a beauty.
Racing to the end zone, and he dives, and he's in. Mahomes throws a pick to Keyshawn Nixon.